Snowflakes floated down like tiny crystals in the winter sky, layering the streets of Boston, Massachusetts, with a fresh coat of white. Christmas lights twinkled in nearly every window, their glow reflecting off the snow. People hurried through the streets carrying wrapped gifts, their cheeks rosy from the cold, their laughter filling the crisp December air. For Emily Carter, Christmas always carried a mix of emotions. She loved the beauty of the season, but the holidays often reminded her of what was missing. This year was supposed to be different, though. For the first time in a long time, her whole family would be under one roof. Her parents flying in from Florida, her younger sister Megan visiting from Chicago, and her older brother Daniel driving up from New York with his wife and kids. Emily, now in her late 20s, had taken on the responsibility of hosting Christmas in her small Boston townhouse. She'd been nervous for weeks. Hosting Christmas meant planning meals, decorating, and making sure there was enough space for everyone. But deep down, she was excited. It had been years since they had all been together at Christmas. On December 23rd, Emily stood in her kitchen, pulling trays of gingerbread cookies from the oven. The warm, spiced aroma filled the house. Her golden retriever, Max, wagged his tail eagerly at her feet, waiting for crumbs to fall. "This is it, Max," Emily said, brushing flour from her hands. "The big Christmas reunion. Let's hope I don't burn the turkey." The doorbell rang, and Emily quickly wiped her hands on her apron before rushing to the door. Standing there, cheeks flushed from the cold, was Megan. She held two large suitcases and grinned wide. "Merry almost Christmas, Sam," Megan exclaimed, throwing her arms around her sister. Emily hugged her tightly. "You made it. Come in before you freeze." As Megan dragged her suitcases inside, she looked around the living room. A tall pine tree stood in the corner, covered with ornaments that Emily had collected over the years, some handmade from childhood, others gifts from friends. Stockings hung across the mantel, each one labeled with a name. "You really outdid yourself," Megan said, taking it all in. "It feels like a Hallmark movie in here." Emily laughed. "Don't jinx it. We both know our family's too unpredictable for a Hallmark ending." Over the next 24 hours, the house filled with more voices, more laughter, and more chaos. Their parents arrived with suitcases and boxes of oranges from Florida. Daniel and his family came barreling in, his kids running straight for the tree. It wasn't perfect. The kids fought over ornaments, the adults disagreed on where to put the dining table, and the kitchen grew so crowded that Emily had to shoo everyone out just to get dinner started. But for Emily, it was exactly what she wanted, her family together again. On Christmas Eve, a winter storm rolled in, heavier than expected. By nightfall, the streets were nearly impassable. The news reported record snowfall, advising everyone to stay indoors until the storm cleared. Emily worried briefly about running out of food, but Daniel reassured her. "Relax, Sam. We've got enough leftovers from tonight's dinner to feed us for days," he said, patting his stomach. That night, the family gathered in the living room. The fire crackled, casting a warm glow. Emily passed around mugs of hot cocoa, topped with whipped cream and candy canes. They decided to open just one gift each, saving the rest for Christmas morning. Megan handed Emily a small box wrapped in gold paper. Inside was a delicate silver necklace with a tiny snowflake charm. "I know how much you love the first snowfall," Megan said softly. "Thought you could carry a little piece of it with you." Emily's eyes welled with tears. "It's perfect. Thank you." Her parents shared a knowing glance, clearly touched by the bond between the sisters. Later, after everyone had gone to bed, Emily stayed up alone, looking out the window at the storm. The streets were silent, the snow falling steadily under the glow of streetlights. She felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. For the first time in years, she didn't feel alone at Christmas. Christmas morning arrived with the sound of children squealing. Daniel's kids had woken up at dawn, dragging everyone out of bed to see what Santa had brought. The living room erupted with wrapping paper, shouts of excitement, and laughter. But then something unexpected happened. The power flickered. Once, twice, and then went out completely. The house fell into darkness, save for the fire still burning in the fireplace. Oh no, Emily muttered, checking her phone. No service. The storm must have knocked out the power lines. The kids grew restless at first, worried about no TV or Wi-Fi. But Daniel clapped his hands together. All right, everyone. Looks like we're going old school this Christmas. Who's up for some board games? To Emily's surprise, the power outage turned into a blessing. They spent the entire day playing charades, telling stories, and singing Christmas carols around the fire. Megan played guitar, their dad told stories from his childhood, and the kids performed little skits they made up on the spot. That night, as the storm continued to rage outside, Emily looked around at her family, her mom asleep in an armchair, her dad quietly humming to himself, Megan strumming the guitar, Daniel laughing with his wife, and the kids curled up on blankets by the fire. The house was crowded. The food was messy. The power was out. But Emily couldn't remember a Christmas more full of joy, laughter, and love. This, she whispered to herself, is the Christmas I'll never forget. The storm eventually cleared, and the power came back the following day. But by then, no one really cared. They had already experienced the magic of being together without distractions. When it was finally time for everyone to leave, Emily stood at the door, hugging each family member tightly. Her mom smiled at her. You gave us the best Christmas gift, Emily. You brought us all back together. Emily's heart swelled. Maybe hosting had been stressful, but it was worth every moment. Because sometimes, the most unexpected Christmas was also the most unforgettable. And from that day forward, the Carters promised themselves they'd never let so much time pass between Christmases again.